What's going on, guys? So today we're going to be breaking down the Five Nights at Freddy's World Multiplayer Edition, I guess, little page that's going on right now. This is made by Mikey Va, and it looked pretty interesting so far. It's definitely caught my attention. I also saw Zombie Wars SMT make a video on this, so there's a couple of us that are pretty interested in this game, and I really hope it does actually become a thing. But anyways, I figured I'd kind of do what we usually do here and kind of break down some of the images and show the storyline for the game and the description and kind of go over things. So if you guys want to see more videos like this, of course, drop a like on the video. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into this. So the first screenshot we have here is the title screen. It just says Five Nights at Freddy's World Multiplayer Edition. It says it's the alpha build. This is probably only made just to kind of show us that the game is, you know, in the works. And yeah, I mean, it looks pretty good so far. Anyways, the next screenshot where things start to get a little bit more exciting, we have the login screen, which obviously this is where you're going to log in to play with other players. At least that's what it looks like. It does say lobby at the bottom there. So it says enter your GameJolt username. I'm going to take a guess to say this is where, you know, well, you'd enter your GameJolt username. But the thing that I was actually going to talk about here is the GameJolt token. I'm thinking this is what you're going to give to people you want to play with. So for instance, if I decide to make an account or make a lobby, I'd put my username as FusionZGamer, which is my GameJolt username. And for GameJolt token, I guess I would make up a token, and then maybe, you know, if, let's say I want to play with one of you guys, I would give you guys that token, and then you'd be able to join. At least that's what I think. So far, honestly, there's no real saying as to how it's going to work, but I'm thinking that's how it's going to work. Anyways, after that, the next screenshot we have is the loading screen puns. Of course, you've got to have those. Scott did it, and apparently he's doing it too. It says Nightmare Foxy, there's a she-wolf in your closet, and then it also has the players online. Now, that's actually very interesting. Now, is that going to show the total players, or like, I guess, the players in that map? Or I don't know how it's all going to work, like, I guess in that zone. That's going to be pretty interesting, though. That'd be kind of cool to see, you know, like 1,000 people online or 500,000 people online. That'd actually be really cool to see. So I do hope that's what that is. Anyways, the next screenshot we have is the party creation screen. You guys have seen this before if you've played Five Nights at Freddy's World. It looks like it's a bit different this time around. It says pick a party. Slot 1 will be shown in the Overworld. Okay. So, it looks like, you know, you can make your party. There's not really anything new about that, and, yeah, it looks actually really cool. Anyways, the next screenshot is, I guess, kind of showing off the text system. So, this is the Overworld Showcase #1. That's what he has it titled as, and it looks like you can actually chat with people in this little sidebar here, and I really hope there's a way of, okay, it looks like there's actually a way of getting that off the screen, because I was going to say, that looks humongous. It'd be nice to have, like, a see-through kind of chat bar there, but still, having a chat bar is pretty cool. It's also got the clock, which obviously is the real world time, the date, and just some of the other stuff that we've already seen before, such as hold tab to view the world map. But it looks pretty interesting. As you can see, he's actually got real gameplay here of him beside another player, which I'm guessing is probably one of the beta testers or one of his, you know, people that's helping him make the game. But it's very cool to actually see this actually in process, like actually in game. You know, it'd be cool to actually be able to hop in the lobby, invite you guys, give out the code. Depending on how many people you can actually have in a lobby, hopefully you can have, like, you know, 100 people. That'd be absolutely crazy, but hopefully that's a thing that can actually be made. But can you imagine, you know, I just, like, send out a code, you guys all join, and, you know, we just kind of hang out. I think that'd be super cool. But that is that one, just kind of showcasing the Overworld. Now, the last image is actually showcasing the Overworld 2. It's called Overworld Showcasing #2. Who would have guessed? But this one, just once again, it looks like him and that same dude from before. He's in the Black Tomb Yard, and if you guys played the game, you guys know what happens here. But yeah, I mean, it's just them two walking around. I really wish there was some sort of, like, video showcasing this, but still, having these screenshots is pretty cool, and it just kind of shows, you know, what could happen. Now, I really hope you can actually change what character you are. Now, he did say slot #1 shows in the Overworld, so I'm hoping that whatever you choose for slot #1 will be, like, who you play as. So, like, you could put yourself as Chica or, you know, Shadow Freddy or anybody like that, and actually, you know, you'd show up as that kind of animatronic in the Overworld, because I think that'd be super cool, and not to just see a ton of Freddys running all over the place. But anyways, now let's go ahead and get into the description, because you guys seem to like whenever I do read over this kind of stuff. So it says, you can now play Five Nights at Freddy's World with friends. This multiplayer edition of the game contains 2-player battles. You can make a team with another player and fight together, or fight against each other. The more the merrier. So that kind of answers my question right there. It looks like, unfortunately, there's only going to be 2 people per, I guess, Overworld. So it's not going to be hundreds of people, even though that would be really cool. But I'm taking a guess and say that servers and stuff like that would cost some money. But I don't really know how that all works. But yeah, 2-player battles, still not bad. Bytes/chips trading. So trade chips and bytes with other players for more money, and or another byte/chip. So that's actually really cool. So, like, let's say I find a chip that the person I'm playing with doesn't have the chip or the byte, I can actually trade it with them, which is super cool. It reminds me a lot of, like, Borderlands with, like, the legendary weapons. You can, like, trade them and stuff like that. So that sounds pretty cool. Anyways, the next one we have is friends option and private messaging. So add as many friends as you want, message them privately, or warp to their location. Ooh, they have to accept the warp request, of course. Okay, so that's actually really cool. So if I decide to add, a bunch of you guys, and for some reason, I just want to play with one of you guys randomly, you can just send me a warp, I guess, thingy and actually warp to my game and play with me. That's actually pretty cool. And much more, find out playing. Okay, so requires Finds Freddy's World and a stable internet connection to play. And then he also goes over the completion of the game, where it's at right now, the different aspects of the game. So 3D Overworld's at 100%, server setup 100%, battles, 2-player battles at 1%. Okay, so that's at the lowest percent possible there. Chat boxes, friend options, and multiplayer features overall 64%. Shops, bytes, and endo upgrades at 85%. Trading feature 0%, and overall completion 59%. So not bad. I mean, the game started on February 6th, so it hasn't been out for that long. I'm going to take a guess and say it's probably going to be out in maybe May or June, which, I mean, that's going to be pretty insane if it is. But overall, it looks pretty cool. The rest of the stuff is just kind of, the obvious stuff. It's made by Scott Cawthon. Don't fake it and stuff like that. And there's also a few updates. It looks like there's 4. If you guys want to read over them, go ahead and check out the game page in the description down below. And, give it a look. See what you guys think of it. Hopefully this comes to fruition because, I don't know, these games, they always end up hyping me up, but, some of them end up actually getting canceled. So let's hope that this one actually, ends up coming out. And because I think it'd be a lot of fun, honestly. This is something that Scott could have added in, but he didn't. Now, he's still updating the game, so maybe he's just going to throw in multiplayer. I mean, I doubt he's going to, but hey, I mean, it's still cool that, even if Scott decides not to, this guy decided to make it, so I'm okay with this. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed, of course, hit that like button down below. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.